Hello, I am Robin Taylor from Jenks Library. Here we are in the second week of this year's summer reading program, and today I will be talking about a few of my favorite fantasy books for teens. Of course, any kind of book can be used to complete the summer reading program, but I hope to show you today that there are many ways to imagine your story. None of the titles I'm showing you today are brand new, but many are a great way to dig into the fantasy genre if you never have before. To start off, I have a novel set in modern-day Nigeria, Akata Witch by Aneti Okorafor. Sunny Nwazwe is different than most Nigerian girls. Not only is she an albino who was born in America, but she can do magic. All her life, she's been an outcast. The other kids make fun of her albinism, calling her a white American. She is ashamed that she needs to use an umbrella to protect her skin from the sun, and despairs that she cannot play soccer during the daytime with her brothers. One day, Sunny's powers awaken with a vision she sees in a lit candle. Sunny is suddenly immersed into the world of the leopard people, or magic wielders, who hide in plain sight amongst the lamps, or non-magic folk. Neither of her parents are leopard people, which makes Sunny a free agent. On top of being a free agent, Sunny has special powers associated with her albinism. As a part of her new training, Sunny is assigned to work with 3 other young leopard people, Orlu, Chichi, and Sasha. Their group is charged with stopping a local serial killer who has been targeting children. To make matters even more complicated, it is absolutely forbidden for leopard people to reveal themselves to any lambs. Can Sunny stop this evil while maintaining her normal lamb life? Will she be able to keep her new life hidden from her family? Outcasts everywhere will relate to Sunny and hopefully begin to find their own special powers while reading about hers. Akata Witch is 352 pages long, with a wide reading level range of 6th to 12th grade, and is followed up by its sequel, Akata Warrior. From sunny Nigeria, we will delve into a mystical island in 3 Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. Now, I do only have the ebook cover to show you today, but we do have plenty of print copies in the system. 3 black witches, all fair to be seen, 2 to devour, and 1 to be queen. Behind the mists, on the island of Finburn, the traditions are different than on the mainland. The island is ruled by a powerful witch queen who, at the end of her reign, gives birth to triplets. On the island, there are many different families which possess distinct magical abilities, such as the elementals, who can control the weather, naturalists, who can influence animals, and poisoners, who can ingest poison without ever coming to harm, and much more. From each generation comes queens with a variety of gifts, which are raised with the head family of the gift which they bear. When they come of age, they must fight each other to the death to see which will be crowned. This time around, most favor elemental queen Mirabella, whose gift is much stronger than her sisters Katarine and Arsinoe. On their 16th birthday, they will be presented to the island at large and set against each other, with 2 expected to be dead before they reach the age of 17. This hefty 398-page book is dark and compelling. It starts as a slow burn and ignites into a mad inferno at the climax. It is by no means a standalone novel with quite a cliffhanger ending. Roughly based on the island of Avalon in Arthurian legend, Finburn holds an intricately imagined society in which the reader can fully immerse themselves. The characters are flawed and relatable, and it is difficult to choose any one sister to root for on their way to the throne. Full of plotting, treachery, and deceit, this first installment of 5 will leave you wanting more. This book is generally recommended for 9th to 12th grade readers, less so for complexity of language and more so for the violent nature of the succession of the queens. Now for my 3rd book, I have The Hero and the Crown by Robin McKinley. Remember when I said that these titles are not brand new? Well, this one wins as the oldest, originally being published in 1984. This book has it all in terms of classic fantasy: dragons, swords, magic, and the hero embarking on an epic quest. It is said that Erin's mother died when she was born, not from the difficulty of labor, but from despair, that she bore the king a daughter instead of a son. It is also said that Erin's mother was a witch who enchanted the king of Damar with dark magic. And it is even said that Erin herself must also be a witch, and she is unworthy to be the daughter, much less the heir, of a king. All of her life, she has heard these stories, though she couldn't say who she heard them from first. Could it be her closest friend, Tor? Or maybe her motherly maidservant, Tekka? No, neither would be so cruel as to say it to her face. Maybe it was Galana then, the cruelest of her cousins. It was, after all, Galana who always taunted her for not having any of the royal gift like the rest of the family. The others could mend shattered plates just by looking at them. They could see visions, and they could even touch the deadly circa plant without dying. And many used this gift to search for the lost crown of Damar, which is said to help keep the land prosperous and secure. The older she gets, the more Erin longs to prove herself. Most of the serving staff know to let her go about her business so as not to call any more attention to the shameful firstborn. And this allows her a strange kind of freedom. With her father's maimed warhorse, Talit, Erin quests out to nearby villages to slay dragons that are about the size of a small dog and help her people. They seem to be coming out more frequently than usual, and soon it is revealed that there is some demon mischief coming down from the lands to the north. It becomes apparent that the threat is greater than anyone knows, including her father and his advisors. Word has come that one of the great dragons has awakened, but no one in her father's court will believe it to be possible. Knowing that she won't be able to get anyone to listen, Erin secrets a way to slay it on her own. She soon discovers that the threat is even worse than a monstrously large dragon. This book kind of starts in the middle, backtracks, and then catch up to itself, and then keeps going. Despite a potentially confusing timeline, the story is very fast-paced with a deliberate rhythm. It is technically a part of a series, but can hold its ground as a standalone novel, since the book that it prequels, The Blue Sword, is set hundreds of years after the events of this one. While the Kingdom of Damar is very much invented, McKinley pulls the reader into this magical kingdom through the mind of such a relatable and richly detailed main character. If you want to experience high fantasy without investing in a long series, The Hero and the Crown does so nicely in 246 pages. However, you don't have to delve this deep into fantasy to get a rich and magical experience. Our young adult collection has many titles which can be classified as magical realism and are often not even given a sci-fi fantasy sticker, so they aren't even in that section of the collection. Usually set in the modern world, these types of books often have a mysterious air to them, where the rules of magic generally remain undefined, while still impacting the storyline. Bone Gap by Laura Ruby is one such title. Bone Gap is a small Midwestern town, not unlike many others. Brothers Sean and Finn have been on their own since their mother left them behind for her new boyfriend that she met online. Sean had been planning on leaving to study medicine, but chose to stay and take care of his spacey brother Finn while he finishes high school. One night, a battered girl appears seemingly out of nowhere inside their barn, and though they cannot get her to tell them what happened to her, they let her live in the empty apartment off of their house while she recovers. Rosa, who is from Poland, enchants everyone she meets with her beauty and unassuming nature, and it isn't long before she and Sean begin to fall for each other, and it seems like a happy ending may be possible for Sean after all. That is, until she disappears. Finn swears he saw her kidnapped, but is unable to satisfactorily describe the appearance of the kidnapper to the police. Everyone else begins to believe that Rosa entered some unknown man's car willingly and simply left them all behind, disappearing as she had appeared months before. While the town returns to normal, accepting that sometimes people just disappear from Bone Gap, it happens all the time, more strange things keep happening to Finn. One night, a horse appears in their barn. Did somebody abandon it there? Why would they just leave it in the barn of brothers who wouldn't be able to afford to feed it? While Finn struggles to make the other residents of Bone Gap believe what he saw, he connects with another town outcast, Petey, who, despite liking him, finds Finn's motives in talking to her questionable. Occasionally, the story will jump to Rosa's perspective, showing that she is, in fact, being held against her will and is desperate to find some way to escape. Unable to convince anyone else, Finn sets off to find Rosa. He questions a neighbor who only tells him to look inside the gaps. After all, there are gaps here wide enough for people to slip away in. What else would the town be named after? Doesn't anybody know this anymore? Told from multiple perspectives across 368 pages, Bone Gap is a story that uses subtly unnerving magic to address issues such as body image, disability, and the devastating effects of gossip. And finally, for those of you that want a different kind of fantasy story altogether, I have Volume 1 of the graphic novelization of Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book, adapted by P. Craig Russell and illustrated by Stephen B. Scott and Kevin Nolan. This is not a story of witches or dragons, but of the supernatural. Let me show you a page here. There are the living and the dead. There are the day folk and the night folk. There are ghouls and mistwalkers. There are high hunters and the hounds of God. Also, there are solitary types. This book, while being an adaptation, stands solidly on its own for storytelling through illustration. This is the story of a boy named Nobody Owens, though most just call him Bod. He wasn't always called Nobody, but what he was called before is not known by anyone. When Bod still slept in a crib, a man called Jack came into his home and killed his family. By chance, Bod escapes and wandered into a nearby graveyard. There he is taken in by the ghosts of Mr. and Mrs. Owens, who were never able to have a child of their own in life. The murderer follows him there, but is repelled by the neither living nor dead Silas, who offers to help the child with worldly needs. As Bod grows older, he wonders why he can never leave the cemetery, or why he cannot do what other dead people can do. On a rare day, he makes friends with a girl about his age, and they explore some of the oldest parts of the cemetery together, awakening a force that has been put in place to guard an ancient treasure. As the years go by, Bod enters into the tutelage of Miss Lupescu, who teaches Bod about the different types of creatures in the world, and how to call for help in all of the languages that exist. Why does he have to learn these useless lessons? All the while, Jack is still out there, looking for the boy that he lost many years ago. He must find him before the boy grows up, and finish what he started. There are 2 volumes to this story, and we have both in our collection. For a fun, spooky summer read, dive into The Graveyard Book. That's all I have for this week. Links to each title are going to be added in the comments, and if you have any questions about this video, feel free to comment or message the Jenks Library Facebook page, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Any parents watching, I will be recommending fantasy books for adults next Thursday. See you then.